Okay, so now let's use our attributes to give cost to our abilities, right? So as you can see, we have stamina and mana and health. So first thing, we're gonna actually create a couple cheat codes so we can test our health. Okay. So we created our class my cheat manager. So we're gonna implement stuff here. Okay, so public my cheat manager. So our constructor, and then in the cheat manager, we're gonna overwrite that, and then we're gonna create some damage functions. Function exec for, so you can see the function can be executed from endgame console. So this is a console command in blueprint authority. Okay, and for virtual void damage self. So we can override it if we want, and then float damage amount. And then we actually, so these are functions. So I'm gonna create another public so we can put our properties, right? I like to separate. So property, edit anywhere, look and read, write, and then category equals gameplay effects. T subclass of gameplay effect. And we're just gonna forward declare it. So as you can see, got forward declare it up here. And we're gonna call it damage gameplay effect. Okay, so I don't like using, so you can not do this and you can reference this gameplay effect by giving it the file path, but I don't like doing that. I just like to give it an actual reference in Blueprint. It's easier to change and less error prone. And then protected void apply set by color damage. UGSC ability system component, and for declare again. Just call it ASC for ability system component, and float damage amount. And again, UGSC ability system component pointer, get player ability system component, and constant. Okay, so now let's implement all these functions. So they're gonna go in here. So we separate them. And your reason writer, you just implement all of them really fast. Not, you can pause and see what's going on. Okay, so don't really have to do anything on these two. We're gonna start by getting our player ability system, right? So if my player controller, we're just gonna call the PC for player controller equals cast and my player controller and get outer a player controller. So that gets our player controller. So my cheat manager is attached to a player controller. This is why we can get the player controller so easily. And then return cast UGSC ability system component PC dot if we get the player state, because our player controller is in the player state. I need my player state. And dot get ability system components. So that should return it. And if we're not able to get our PC, we do just return null pointer. Okay, and you can make this constant. All right. That's it for that. And now, so we're gonna go from down up because this is the last function we're gonna call, but we need these two functions to make this one work. So we're going to do apply set by color damage. Okay. So we're going to check if ASC is valid, right? So that's a macro for that. And if damage GE, so if we have set our blueprint for damage GE, which we will do when we implement this in the blueprint, F gameplay effect spec handle, and spec handle is equal to ability system component dot make outgoing spec, and we're gonna use our damage G. The level is just 1, and gameplay effect context handle. So we're gonna do ASC dot, or ability is just gonna make effect context. And if our spec handle is valid, we're gonna do spec handle dot data dot set by color magnitude. Then we're gonna do F gameplay tag. Then we're gonna request a gameplay tag. So to get a gameplay tag, we have to request it. And then we just type in set by color dot damage, right? Because we want to give damage to the player, and we're gonna set this tag up when we get to blueprints, and then the damage amount. Okay. So all this is doing is setting a set by color magnitude inside this gameplay effect. Okay. So we can use one gameplay effect for whatever type of damage we want. So we don't have to make a different gameplay effect for a different type of damage, etc. For a different amount of damage. So then we go ASC dot apply gameplay effect spec to self and the spec handle. What actually is spec handle dot data dot get. Make sure you type it like this. Okay. Okay, so we're done with that one, and then now we actually do the console command. Okay. So again, if UGSC, let's see, ability system component. So we're gonna get our ability system component, get player ability system component. So if we get it, we apply set by color damage, ASC, and the damage is the damage amount that we're gonna pass it in the command, right? And again, we can make this constant and damage self constant. Okay. So now we are cheating. Make that constant too. Okay, so now we can cheat. Okay, so let's make our gameplay effect in blueprints. First of all, we need to save everything just in case we crash here. So now we're gonna compile. Okay, so we failed to compile, and that is because we forgot to add. As you can see here, you can't find this function, right? That means, again, we go to a build and we include gameplay tags, right? Can't find the gameplay tag, so we forgot to include gameplay tags. And now we shut down the engine and we press refresh solution. So the engine includes the gameplay tags into the code. Now refreshes it, and now we just press debug, which will build the project and launch the engine again. There you go. Found it. So now we're good to go. So content drawer, now ability system. We're gonna do a new folder, gameplay effects, and another new folder called base. In this base, we're gonna create gameplay effect. There's a base gameplay effect selected, and we're gonna call this gameplay effect parent underscore damage basic. And we open it up, and you don't need any of this. This is a gameplay effect, so can't really do much with it. There's no code or anything. It's just data. Okay, so it's going to be an instant components. We're going to add one component called tags. Tags this effect cast. And we're going to add a new tag. So click on the plus button, select your source. I'm going to call it gameplay effect dot damage type dot basic. Gameplay effect damage type dot basic. Add a new tag, and then we select it. Okay. After that, we're going to add another component required tags to apply continue this effect. And then application tag requirements. So this effect requires these tags to either exist or not exist, right? So we're going to add a must not have a tag. And we're going to create a new tag called cheat dot god. So this is going to be our god mode, right? So we don't want to take damage if we're in god mode, obviously. So we just select it. So this effect will never apply if a character has this tag applied to them. Okay. File save. After that, we add a modifier. And we select attribute, we select health, we select add. And we just set by caller. You can so this since this is our base, we can just set it to -10, right? So our base. So we're gonna create childs of this class, and this is how it's gonna come out. But after this, we're gonna create a child of it that's called set by color, which would have a set by color tag. All right. Then we add a gameplay queue. We'll go into gameplay queues later when we start doing actual visual combat. So doesn't really take in the magnitude, right? No magnitude. But the gameplay queue tag is going to be gameplay queue. We're going to add a subtag character dot damage taken. Add the tag. Oh, select your source, add a tag, and select that. And that's it. And now we go to class settings, advanced, and we select generate abstract class. So we don't want to be able to use this as an actual class in our project, right? This is just like a template for all of our child classes. So we select this, and it will never show up in the dropdown when selecting classes, right? Okay, so that's just our base class. Now we go back here and create a new folder called set by color. And now we call our class, which we made called parent or something, gameplay effect parent damage basic, and call it GE set by color damage. Then we go here and let's remember magnitude calculation. You can set it to set by color, but we're actually going to do something else. We're not going to use this modifier. We're going to create our own damage calculation. But to do that, we need to create our combat stats, right? So like I want to have damage reduction, attack speed, critical strike chance, critical strike damage. So we're going to add those four to our character so we can create a new execution. Okay, our damage execution.